What if language learning did not happen in a separate language class at all? What if students learned a foreign language while studying science, geography, or history? That idea sits at the center of content and language integrated learning, usually known as CLIL. In this video, I'm going to explain what CLIL is, where it comes from, how it works as a teaching approach, and why it has become one of the most influential developments in modern language education. So, stay tuned and watch the video to the end. Welcome back to TESOL with Miki and Ida. I'm Ida, an applied linguist, and today we are looking at CLIL. But what is CLIL? Well, CLIL is an approach to language teaching in which subject matter content and language are learned at the same time. In a CLIL classroom, students use a second or foreign language as the medium for learning academic content rather than studying the language as an isolated system. So, instead of learning English first and using it later, students learn English by using it to understand topics such as science, geography, or environmental studies. CLIL is closely related to content-based instruction, or CBI, which is more common in North America. However, CLIL developed mainly in European foreign language contexts where learners have limited exposure to the target language outside school. The goal is balanced development of content knowledge and language ability, not replacement of local languages. CLIL aims to promote multilingualism while preserving linguistic diversity. But let's see where CLIL came from. CLIL emerged in Europe in the early to mid-1990s. The acronym was officially introduced in 1994 as part of European Commission language policy. Now, a key motivation was the European Commission's 1+2 policy, the idea that citizens should have competence in their mother tongue plus 2 additional community languages. For language teachers, however, the key point is not policy, but pedagogy. CLIL reflects a growing belief that language is learned most effectively when it is used to understand meaningful academic content rather than treated as an end in itself. Now, let's see how CLIL works as a teaching method. From a methods perspective, CLIL rests on 3 core ideas. First, language is a resource for meaning, not the primary object of study. Vocabulary and grammar are introduced because the content demands them, not because they appear next in a grammatical syllabus. Grammatical progression is therefore driven by content, not by grammatical difficulty. Second, CLIL treats language as discourse, not just sentences. Students learn how language functions in disciplinary-based genres, work such as explanations in science, reports in geography, or arguments in social studies. Third, scaffolding is central. Because learners process complex ideas in a foreign language, teachers must actively support comprehension and production. Common CLIL scaffolding strategies include visuals, and diagrams, and charts, pre-teaching key vocabulary, breaking information into manageable chunks, graphic organizers, and outlines. Modeling academic language, structured tasks that gradually increase cognitive and linguistic demand. CLIL classrooms are therefore highly planned and deliberately language aware. You can actually look at our episodes on scaffolding if you're new to this concept. Now, let's look at a simple CLIL lesson. To make this concrete, imagine a CLIL lesson on environmental science. The content objective might be students understand the causes of climate change. The language objectives might include vocabulary such as emissions, fossil fuels, renewable energy, and grammatical resources for cause and effect, like cohesive devices such as because, leads to, results in, and etc. The teacher introduces the topic using visuals and short texts, supports comprehension through guided questions, and design tasks that require students to use language to explain ideas, not simply recall facts. Language feedback focuses on how effectively students express content, not on isolated grammar errors. At the same time, the teacher must ensure that the students have understood the material presented, which is a central responsibility in CLIL. Now, let's look at the role of teachers and learners in CLIL. CLIL places significant demand on both learners and teachers. Learners are expected to navigate uncertainty, work collaboratively, actively interpret meaning rather than wait for explanation. And teachers, on the other hand, must manage both content and language objectives, anticipate linguistic difficulty, provide timely scaffolding and feedback, and facilitate dialogic scaffolded interaction. They also should make subject matter comprehensible through careful language use. So, quite a lot to do for both. One major challenge is staffing. In some contexts, subject teachers teach through a CLIL language. In others, language teachers teach subject content. So both models require specialized training and ongoing support. Now, there are strengths and criticisms to CLIL as well. Now, CLIL has several widely recognized strengths. It creates meaningful reasons to use language. It supports development of academic language proficiency, including both basic interpersonal communicative skills and cognitive academic language proficiency. It aligns language learning with wider educational goals. However, CLIL is not a guaranteed solution. Research suggests that claims about CLIL sometimes exceed the available evidence. Advantages have been reported in some contexts such as Austria, but not in others such as Belgium. So that highlights the importance of local conditions. CLIL also faces practical challenges. Commercial textbooks are often unavailable, and teachers frequently spend considerable time developing or adapting materials. In short, CLIL works well when it is well designed, not simply because content is taught through another language. But why does CLIL matter for TESOL? Well, CLIL represents a clear shift away from teaching language as a separate subject. It reflects broader trends in TESOL toward learner autonomy, the social nature of learning, meaning-focused instruction, curricular integration across subjects. So CLIL also shares with task-based language teaching the assumption that language is best learned when learners are primarily focused on using language, even though the two approaches address different pedagogical questions. CLIL is best understood not as a single method, but as a powerful approach to integrating language and content learning. It reminds us that language develops most fully when it is used to think, explain, and understand academic content. Please remember to like and subscribe, and if you found this useful, explore the rest of our TESOL Methods Explained playlist. Thanks for watching.